Napoli, Napoli, Napoli!
What's going on, my fellow Napoletani? Welcome back to Napoli Nation TV. This is season 2, episode 6. We just got off a crazy last-second goal against Cagliari, winning 1-0. In case you guys missed our live, let's just start it out hot. I'm going to bring up the video clip of our reaction, and it went a little something like this. Make something happen. 30 seconds.
Delivering again, Kisa, but Mina wins once more.
¡Esto! ¡Vai! ¡Vamos! ¡Cachiremos! ¡Vai! ¡Fanculo! Yeah! What'd you think about that match, man?
Oh, man. Nerve-wracking, to say the least.
Yeah.
And I can't lie, it was a super relieving goal, but also very, very emotional and exciting to get a goal at the literal last second of the match.
Yeah, there was
I
like
mean,
20 seconds left by the time you put that
It,
goal
it, I mean, the ref had the whistle in his mouth, ready to blow it. Like, if that ball didn't get to Zombo and somehow Cagliari got the ball back, the game was over, bro. It was over. So freaking crazy, man.
Definitely
I don't want
nerve-wracking
to do
say the
that all
least.
season.
Typical Napoli fashion, you know, struggling against
Yeah.
a bum team like Cagliari and winning last minute. I can't complain though. You know, we got the dub. Obviously, we'll get into our offensive and defensive performances here in a little bit, but you know, we got the 3 points, and that's something Inter could not do this weekend, which is huge. They lost at home against Udinese 2-1. I was expecting the typical Inter comeback, but yeah, we are still holding first place with fellow others. We'll talk about the top 6 final predictions towards the end of the video. But yeah, it's looking good, but it's also not looking good, kind of thing. You know what I mean? We're holding our own, but gotta make some improvements. So with that being said, let's get into the offensive performance. All right, so we came out with the same lineup that we had last week against Sassuolo. I'll bring it up right now. So we do have Meret, Luca, McTominay, Jesus, Rachmani, Anchisa, Kevin De Bruyne, Lobotka, Di Lorenzo, Politano, and Spinazzola. Actually, I'm incorrect. We started Olivera last week, so that's our only change. Apologies. But yeah, so tell me, what do you think, how we perform, or how do you think that we performed offensively? I'll bring up the player ratings right now. Obviously, we'll talk about the front of the lineup, and then we'll distinguish the back in the next topic. But yeah, let me know, what do you think about these ratings? If they suit them. I see a couple mistakes already just from the get-go, in my opinion. But yeah, you can go first and just let us know.
I mean, to be honest, looking at all of the scores that FootMob gave all the players, I don't have any like huge heartaches in what the grades ended up being.
Oh man,
but
I see a huge one.
Well, there's 2 things that, you know, I'm not jiving with, but it's not like a huge deal, to be honest. But the fact that let me just say what I am in complete agreement with, and then we'll get into him a little bit more, is Luca's grade after we're done.
Yep.
We'll talk about him, I think, a little bit more extensively, because he's been disappointed, to say the least. So him having the lowest grade, for me, is spot on. Nobody else should have a lower grade than him. I don't have a problem with McTominay's grade either, and that's mostly because he did miss that chance, and we'll get into that into a little bit more detail later. And you can't complain about Anguissa having the highest rating because, you know, he had the winning goal and he did play well. But the one thing that I have a little bit of an issue with, to be honest, is Loboka's grade compared to others on the pitch because Loboka, other than Zombo, I think was the most important player for us in that game.
That's
You
correct.
know what I mean? That's how I felt watching that game and watching what he did to get that ball off the Buongiorno to get the assist. Then the other play where he was super involved in getting it to McTominay, who missed it. That's probably my only like actual heartache. And then I don't know if Politano deserves the second best grade also. I wasn't really focused on him as much as other things that were going on. I was paying a lot of attention to KDB like always. So I'm not sure about that Politano grade, man. Maybe you can talk about that a little bit more. But overall, I'm not I'm not complaining in general. Just, some of the things that I would have modified a little bit is what I said. So what do you think?
Yeah. So Luca's grade, I think it's perfect the way it is. Lowest on the pitch. Lobotka, have a huge problem with that. Easily our second best player on the pitch that game. 7.4 is just way too low. At least a 7.7, 7.8. Lobotka every game, to be honest, is one of our top 3 most important players, if not the most important player. If you really watch the game and how he defends that backline, helps them out, pushes the ball forward, creates space. I mean, he's literally it's debatable, but our most important player on the pitch almost every game. You know what I mean? Still to this day, I think Lobotka does not receive enough praise for what he does for this team. I'm Anguissa with the highest rating, 8.2. Fair. Got the last second goal, just like he did against Parma last season, winning 2-1 at the 96th or 94th minute. I can't remember, something like that. But that was a little deja vu. And Politano. So I was seeing on X a few people debating about him playing well or him playing like complete shit. And I think it's in between. Yeah, he had a couple good runs and probably 2 or 3 good crosses, but in terms of consistency and efficiency, he was awful. I think he let in, like, if I counted correctly, like about 12 or 13 crosses, and only 2 or 3 were accurate. That's just me generalizing it. It's probably more or less crosses, but I'm not too far off. Yeah, an 8.0 for that. Don't think it's deserving. I would say maybe a 7.4. I think him and Lobotka should actually switch ratings, if I'm being completely honest. Yeah. So I don't know how he got an 8. I don't know what people were seeing. Like this guy told me, did you even watch the match? I was like, yeah. I don't know if you checked out the live or not, but I watched it. And Politano was not efficient enough or consistent enough. The De Bruyne, 6.8. Yeah, I hate to say it, but I think that's fair. Didn't show too much this game. Obviously, Sassuolo, he started up hot and then he slowed down throughout the way and kind of, did his thing. Obviously, scoring that free kick goal. But this game, I didn't see too much from him. Not too many mistakes, but not too much. Not too many good things either. You know what I mean? It wasn't a performance that really stood out to me. McTominay as well. Hate to say it. I think like 6.5, maybe a little bit higher, just because he did have some chances. Yes, he didn't finish them, and he shot right at the goalie. Actually, prior to that Zombo goal, and I think he should have finished that. At least have been more clinical on his shot. Maybe getting it to the bottom left or bottom right rather than straight directly to the center of the goal. He made it way too easy for Capri, who also had an amazing match. We'll talk about Cagliari and their defense as well. Actually, let's just do it right now. Cagliari stubborn this game. I mean, if I'm looking at their formation, they had a 3-5-1-1. They quite literally had 8 people playing at the back all game. Like this,
Yeah, man.
the only reason we struggled this hard was because and this can happen with any team, bums or not.
Yep.
I mean, they're playing 8 people back there.
Mm-hmm.
Coyote's defense is not terrible. I mean, Mina, very underrated defender. I think in the near future he's going to go to a much bigger team. I wouldn't mind having him. Yeah, Mina is a stud. He did his thing, can't lie, as expected.
Super annoying though.
No, Caprile was super annoying. Yeah, like most of our shots were right to him, but the one like when was it Spinazzola that hit it on that far left where he ended up blocking him there? Yeah, that was crazy. But he had plenty more. blocks that were pretty good. But yeah, I'd say that was for sure their MVP of that match. Like I said, we called it last video. Buffon performance. We called it.
Yeah, but I
happened.
predicted 4-0.
Yeah, I mean,
I
I
was
said
way off.
3-0. I think 4 was
I
really
was
pushing it.
way
I
off.
think 3 was kind of pushing it. You know, I was expecting
Yeah.
probably 2-1, but I really wanted to see kind of a goal fest. That did not happen.
Yeah.
But what's important is that we got the win. And yeah, I mean, offensively, if I give it a rating, I don't know, 5.5, 6 out of 10. I think that's only fair. You know,
Wow,
yes,
that's pretty low.
we ended up getting the win.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what matters in the end, not these damn ratings about rating, you know, offense or defense. But performance wise, didn't have too much to show for it, and that's with clinicality and creativity. I'm just
You
being
know,
honest.
yeah, and speaking of creativity, you know, that changed when Lane came in, man. Like we
Good
were
point.
clicking we were clicking him a little bit more on that side, and there was
Yep.
more creativity. And you know, Conte, I think one of the things that he's probably gonna, you know, make an adjustment to is and he did mention in his press conference that he did not expect Cagliari to play such a low block and to park the bus like they did.
Yeah.
So maybe he's gonna, you know, in the next match where he feels like a team could try that again, especially when we're at home. Maybe he subs in players with creativity like Lang, and hopefully Nedes is like he can actually play and he's not having muscle fatigue issues, and he can throw one or both of them in
Is Neres
earlier
having
if
muscle
need
fatigue
be.
issues?
Yeah, so what I read is that
Oh
it
man.
was just like more of a game time decision because of his muscle fatigue, and then I think it's lingered on the last few days too, if I saw that correct online. So, man, I hope that's not something we have to deal with throughout the season with him, man, because we really need more goals, and obviously we need more creativity.
Yeah,
And then, you know, you touched on KDB, and I'm trying to be patient with KDB, right? I mean, because the dude is one of the
he's fine.
greats.
He's fine.
I'm trying to be patient, but
No,
I'm also
agreed.
going to be critical, you know. And he admitted himself after the match that he did not play well. So I'm still patient, but I am expecting here soon, and by Milan, when we go to the San Siro, it is time to show us what you're made of, and I'm confident he will. I know he's going to be working on his chemistry with the players because that's part of it too. Um, but yeah, he definitely did not have a good match overall, and maybe the international break is going to be good just to, you know, maybe to get his mind a little more off of what's going on back in Napoli, and then come back with a fresh slate, and we'll see. But man, yeah, you were right about Coyote's defense, man. If we were to give like a man of the match or something for this game, the Coyote defense overall needs to be shouted out for because they played a masterclass. That was an amazing defensive performance, in my opinion. No matter how boring it was, they wanted a result. They wanted to at least get a draw and maybe sneak in a goal on some freaking counterattack play or some
And
crazy
they
shot from outside
didn't
the box. Or
get it.
no, they didn't. They were not threatening at all. We're going to get into our
No,
defensive performance here soon, and our defensive performance. Nobody can argue. I don't think that was better than our offensive performance. So, if you wanted to get into that next, I'm ready, man.
I do want to mention one more thing before we do get into that, just because
Okay.
he was a big part of the offense. He is a defender, but Alessandro Buongiorno, if you guys noticed that beautiful assist,
Yeah.
I mean, the guy came in at the 70th minute and was making an impact off the get-go. So, with that being said, let's get into the defensive performance. Okay, once again, another clean sheet. Defense did their job. It's nothing new for us Napoli fans. You know, we have one of the top defenses in Europe.
Mhm.
We completely shut down Cagliari. they realistically had no crazy chances. I think the craziest one was when Folaronso was on the left of the box and almost got a tap-in goal from a far cross. But other than that, I wasn't too worried about anything. I mentioned Buongiorno. Yes, this was on the offensive side of things, but he is a defender. Immediately made an impact into the game. Were you expecting him to come in this early? Me neither.
Nope.
Yeah. So
It was a huge surprise.
yeah, look at this beautiful beast.
Yeah, man. It's
What a
boy.
cross. You know what that reminded me of? Bastoni. These are the best two defenders
Yeah.
inside. Yeah, man. Like when
Oh,
a
yeah,
defender
man.
can defend the way that they do at a high level
Mhm.
and still
man.
create offensive, stuff.
Mhm.
It's just nothing to freaking sleep on, man. Without his cross, we weren't getting that goal. It's just that easy. So I'm glad that he's back. Hopefully, we implement him into the starting formations from here on out. Only if he's healthy. Obviously, if he wasn't healthy enough, Conte wouldn't have put him in. Like we mentioned last time, Conte asked the players confirmation of how they're feeling. So yeah, I mean, I would love to see him against Fiorentina. It's going to be a tough opponent up next. Yeah. So what do you think about the defense? Give it a rating real quick. I'll give them a 8.5. I think 8.5 is very deserving.
That sounds fair. 8.5.
Yeah.
I mean, it didn't seem like they had to do much because Cagliari wasn't really so focused on trying to really possess the ball and trying to
They
do
had a
something in
couple
the final
or
third.
a few good counters though. Defense just completely shut them down, so we didn't really notice them too much. But without
Yeah.
defense, playing the way they did, they could have had a goal easily.
Yeah, I mean, I think 8.5 is completely fair. Um, and talking about Buongiorno being able to come in and get that assist and everything. Um, it's welcome back, Ale. Welcome back, Ale, man. Like, I love having him back. He's probably a future captain. His attitude, his passion, his abilities, everything about our boy is awesome, and I love having that dude back. I don't know if he's going to start versus Fiorentina, but him coming in as early as he did, I think that we could probably be safe in expecting him to be back by the Champions League game and the match in San Siro against Milan. That's what I'm looking forward to, and we did stop talking about the offensive performance, but we do need to finish up this segment after we're done and talk a little bit more about Luca. I just have a couple things that I wanted to talk about when it comes to him. Um, so yeah, no complaints about the defense.
So
No
Buongiorno did get
complaints
it.
at all.
It's not up there, but Buongiorno did receive a 7.2 from FOTMob for his rating. Do you think that's fair?
No, I don't.
I think it should be
I
higher.
mean, I don't know what it is with their ratings and if there's a bearing on whether they started or not, and that has an effect on how many points they get or whatever it is for that. The dude had an assist. I don't remember anything that he did in his defensive stance where anything happened where we were okay. What's up? He's not ready to play. No. So yeah, you said 7.2?
Mhm. I only think
Nah.
it's that low because he only played for about what 20, 25 minutes. You know what I mean? I
Okay.
think you have to include his playing time as part of his performance.
If that's the case, and you're probably right, then yeah. If that's the case, I'm okay with that. If it isn't, he's for me what he did with the assist and his defensive performance, there was nothing that we can even remember that wasn't himself. I would give it close to an 8, to be honest.
Hmm.
But you're probably right. I think you are right about the fact that he didn't actually start. That had an effect on his overall rating.
Yeah, I was looking at Sky's ratings, and I usually kind of agree with theirs most of the time. That's why I like to bring up FOTMob because they rate them
Mm.
very differently on different standards, and I don't always agree with a lot of their ratings. Yeah, but Sky gave him like a 7, so I thought that was fair. 7, 7.5, anywhere in between that range, I think is very fair.
Okay.
Like I said, just for the matter of his playing time. Obviously, he didn't make any mistakes. played solid defense, got the beautiful assist, but only had 25 minutes of playing time. So, but yeah, I mean, welcome back. Good morning. We're happy to have you. Top 2 defender in the league. It's exciting once he gets to starting again. You know, him and Akmani back there are a crazy duo. As all us Napoli fans, though, we know that Akmani just levels up to God tier whenever he's next to a super solid center back. Not knocking Jesus, but Buongiorno's a whole different level, obviously. You know what I mean? So we'll just see that Akmani game improve that much more. I would like to see Bukama, you know, get included soon, though. We spent 35-40 million on him, so I'm hoping he gets some playing time. You know what I mean? I already knew he was going to start over Rahmani, just because Rahmani had a very, very good season last season. It was a sleeper season, but definitely one of the top center backs that Serie A had. So, but yeah, I mean that's a defensive performance. Like we said, 8.5 rating, another clean sheet, no complaints. The goalkeeper situation, we still can't really distinguish who's going to be the starter. I mean, obviously it's Medet, but in terms of Milinkovic-Savic coming in and taking his spot, it's not looking like Conte is ready to do that. We haven't seen that we needed that. So, like as we mentioned in the last video, if we don't see Medet make a huge mistake, something that leads to a goal, I think that's all it's going to take for Conte to kind of give Milinkovic-Savic the green light.
Hey, but you know something, Mario?
Yeah.
VMS isn't on international duty.
I know he's focusing on the team. I'm sure Medet is concerned about that. He's really trying to lock in for us. So we'll see what that leads to. But
yeah, man, them Conte eyes are watching him while Medet's off doing his third. Is he third string for the national team or second string?
I'm not sure. All I know is he would never start over Donnarumma. So yeah, I mean we got Donnarumma. You can't really start over that guy.
Yeah, we'll touch on him a little bit too later, but can we talk about Luka just for a sec, man? We didn't really talk a whole lot about him. Can we do that?
I really much to say, except he had another awful game, as expected. I mean, second game starting, stubborn defense. It's kind of hard to really.
Let me say this. So I'm more impatient with him than I am with KDB. And here's the reason. So we spent a good amount of money on him. What was it, like 35, 40, something like that?
35, yeah.
He I think he had double digit goals last year.
Barely, yep.
And then and he has not made any impact on both of these games. And both of these games are not versus big teams. And then the last thing that I want to say that really puts a stamp on my disappointment is what Conte said. It's quoted that he mentioned while he was trying to get to a ball with his feet, he needed to just use his head. How many times have we seen Luka get his head on the end of a ball so far?
The closest opportunity he had was last week against Sassuolo, and that was just because Di Lorenzo kind of just crossed it a little too high for him, which is crazy for a guy that's 8 feet tall. But
the dude should be on the end of like at least 5 balls a match, and there's crosses going in, and he's not finding them.
And who are most of those crosses from?
Yeah, he seems out of position. We all knew that he wasn't fast, so I'm not expecting him to make an impact on the game with his speed, even with his athleticism, because he's not a super crazy athlete. But the dude, like you said, he's 8 foot tall.
Not literally, but they know what I mean. He's 6 foot something, 6'7".
We might as well call him 8 foot tall because he's taller than everybody else
on the field.
You know,
that's what I was trying to imply.
Even if you can't jump, like you're not super athletic, and I think that's pretty evident that he's not super athletic at this point. You got to be able to get your head on some of these crosses. And then he's old enough to where he's played in Serie A a long enough time, and he's old enough to where he needs to be in positions where he can make an impact, even if it isn't with his head, and super disappointed in him so far. And I think it's obvious that Conte was disappointed with him in that last match because our boy Ambrosino came in early.
Yeah, if that didn't
So
say a lot, I don't know what did.
so Hoyland's coming for your starting spot, bro.
Yeah.
He's coming for it. So you need to figure shit out here pretty quick and start making an impact because you're supposed to be the future number 9. That's what you were signed for, is to learn underneath Lukaku and
Which
be
he
our
can't do right
guy.
now. Just want to get into that. He can't
Yeah, he
learn under
can't.
him.
No, he can't, but he had all training. Lukaku got injured right at the end. And so nobody's going to sit here and try to say that he's going to hold the ball up and have a touch on the ball as good as Lukaku. But the dude just hasn't made an impact. I'll just leave it at that. We need some type of impact, and he hasn't done anything so far.
Yeah, it's almost like we want to see him kind of replicate what Lukaku does, just because they're both big, tall, slower pace strikers. We obviously know that Lukaku is better with his back towards the goal, which Luka hasn't really shown too much of. That's why I kind of wanted him to learn off Lukaku, because he has the body type and technical ability for it. But so far, haven't seen much. And it's not necessarily that I want to see him score goals. Like right off the bat, I would like to see some, like, at least some good chances,
Yeah.
and I haven't even really seen that.
I mean,
So
has he had one shot on goal in 100 and how many minutes? Because he came out early. We'll just call it 2 matches. Has he had
like
any
on
shots on
target,
goal?
I don't think so, except for
Can't
like
think.
one, but it was a very soft shot. I can't remember if that
Oh,
was the last match of
okay.
preseason where he did that or the first match. But yeah, nothing to be excited about. That's what really counts. We haven't seen too much.
For sure.
I'm hoping this next game he can show out, but I don't know. Hoyland is here now. We'll see how fast he gets, put into the squad. Whether we don't know if Conte will put him as a starter right away. Obviously, there's the international break, and we play Fiorentina next, which is going to be tough. So I don't know if Conte wants to put Hoyland in that situation just yet. But yeah, all I know is that he needs to show up.
My prediction is if Luka doesn't make an impact on this next match, I think he
Yeah,
does start. But
yeah,
if he doesn't make an impact, his starting spot's gone. Hoyland's going to take it.
I think so too. Regardless of what Hoyland shows in training camp, obviously he can't be terrible, but if he's even close to being up to par with how Luka is in training, I think he gets his shot at being a starter. So King Kevin, did he have a good match? Wouldn't say it was good. Wasn't bad. Wasn't good. Pretty mid.
It was bad. It was bad.
Was it?
It was
Would you really
bad for
call
his
it
standards.
bad?
For his
See,
standards, it was
but
bad.
that's the thing though. Like, second game here, whole new different league, different tactics, just different everything. Realistically, we can't really expect him to make an impact, like a crazy impact, like he did against Sassuolo. It wasn't even that crazy. He just scored a crazy goal, and he had a couple good passes that should have turned it into goals. So maybe it is crazy, maybe it isn't. I don't know.
Yeah,
But
he definitely played better versus Sassuolo.
oh yeah, easily. That's not up for debate. But I wouldn't call this match bad per se. I think that's being a little harsh. Bad, really.
The
Please
reason
explain.
I'm saying bad, is because it's KDB.
Okay, but
I wouldn't be saying it's bad if it was another player that's not on a world class level. Isn't. I don't consider him old. He's not old. He's just a little bit past his prime. He's had injury issues at the end of towards the end of his prime, right? But the dude is KDB. We know how good he is. And I think that there's enough time that he's had to build chemistry with the other players. I know that part of it is he's been playing with world-class players his entire career pretty much.
Yeah.
And we aren't on the level of Man City with the talent and all that. I get that. But 2 games is enough. For me, 2 games is enough. The next game, he needs to make an impact where Foot Mob doesn't have him with a low rating.
In the red.
That's yeah, that's what I want. I want that to happen in the next game. That doesn't mean he has to have an assist. That doesn't mean he has to have a goal. It just means that he needs to be one of those players that is creative in the build up to goals. So that's how I feel. I'm not being impatient here, although it probably sounds like that, right? I'm not being impatient yet. Not yet. But
I'm glad to hear that.
he needs to man up.
Man up. I don't know if man up is the right word there. He already admitted to having a bad game. I don't think it's man up. I just think it's just
Well, I mean, I'm talking he needs to man up in his performance in the next match. Him admitting that he had a bad match is a good sign.
Yeah.
Like, and how could he not admit that? Because it was obvious. But him saying that on the microphone is a good sign because that means he's going to be working to get to make like he's going to put some work in whatever that is. If that's just trying to understand more what Conte's tactics are and where the players are on the pitch. I mean, I have to admit, I haven't seen like him make bad passes or have bad touches I mean, he hasn't even looked like he's got a fitness issue, to be honest. It's not that. It's just his impact. And I just think it's all about the tactics and understanding where he needs to be and where his players are. So,
Well, those points that you brought up are fair, but I still wouldn't call it bad. Obviously, him saying he had a bad match is just him taking accountability for himself, being the leader that he is. Obviously, an older gentleman that understands the game. You know what I mean? It's normal for him to say that. He doesn't have any ego or pride. He puts that to the side. So I would say it was mid. Obviously, we didn't see nothing crazy, but honestly, nothing bad either. It was just mid. Like I just don't understand how you can call it bad. I mean, you're saying to his standards it was bad, which is
yes.
also fair. But in general, I think he was mid, which I don't think we'll say too often throughout this season. It's the
I hope
beginning of the
so.
season, I know that I keep saying that. It's the second match. Same thing with Luka. You never know when these players are going to turn up and get comfortable. Preseason is preseason. It's a way different environment than the actual Serie A league. As you can
Hey,
tell from Luka struggling because he did have 4 or 5 goals in the preseason. You know what I mean? A lot of them were like,
Mario,
yeah,
Mario. Maybe part of it is that he saw the league phase draw and he knows he's going to play next, and that's on his mind a little bit in the first match of the Champions League.
nah, I don't think that's on his mind.
Oh, I guarantee you he's
Affecting
thinking about.
his
I
game.
guarantee you he's thinking about that every day, though.
So with you
Ooh,
saying that, you're saying he's gonna not have a good performance against Man City because if
no,
that's getting in his head,
no,
imagine when he's
no, no.
actually there.
What I'm saying is just in general, his current state of mind and his focus.
He's on Man
Maybe
City.
maybe it's on Man City. Yeah, I mean, maybe that's part of it. I'm not saying that's the reason, but that could be contributing to some of his, this things that are swirling around in that head, going back to where he was put on a platter. You know what I mean? So he's got to definitely figure stuff out by the time we play Milan and Man City. We need him for those 2 matches.
I think he
That's not
will
even.
easily.
I hope so. I hope so.
It's crazy how Napoli land we've landed Mertens, Lukaku, and now Kevin De Bruyne. That's literally probably all 3 of them are in their top 5 easily. Like in the
Oh,
national team side, that
no
is pretty
doubt.
crazy to think about right now. I didn't
Yeah.
realize that. I was just thinking about Mertens. I
Yeah.
don't know why. Damn, I missed that guy. Anyways, KDB, mid-match, bad match, different views. Not really much else to say. Hopefully next week he shows out and shows what he's really capable of. I just think he needs time. So with that being said, let's get into the song of the match. Once again, if you missed the previous episode, we'll kind of get into this for a couple more episodes just to get people familiar with what it means. It's the guy who shed the most blood, had the most grit, but didn't necessarily play the best. That'll be the Wayo of the match, which will be right after that. Oh my God. You better not put up there who I think you're going to put up there right now. I'm looking at the images that are in our little lobby.
Yeah, you know already.
He's going to be the song of the match.
Yep.
Are you serious?
Come on, you can go first, man. Give me yours first.
All right. Well,
Let me have this, but you go first.
It's very surprising coming from you. I'm gonna have Lobotka easily as the song of the match. Obviously, wasn't the best player on the pitch because of what Anguissa managed to do at the very end, winning us that game. But Lobotka's going to be up here quite often as well. He's always the guy that's covering most of the field, moving his ass, getting shit done. FotMob gave him that 7.4 rating. I think it should be higher, like 7.7, 7.8. But yeah, easily the song of the match. Always a top 3 player on our pitch. And yeah, he's going to be up there quite often. Same with Politano. Obviously, this match, I think he played terrible. Don't know how FotMob gave him that 8. We already talked about that in the previous topics, though. I mean, in terms of efficiency and consistency, having an 8.
Okay.
I mean, you give McTominay a 6.5 for not really having terrible shots. He just wasn't clinical. Like, the shots weren't going freaking far. Like, Politano's crosses were not getting anywhere. They were too short.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no doubt. 6.5 for him and 8 for Politano. That doesn't make sense.
It's just crazy. I don't know how they came up with that. That's why I like bringing up FotMob so we can actually discuss about these ratings and agree, disagree. But yeah, anyways, Lobotka, easily the man who hustled the most this match and showed why he's one of the best defensive midfielders in the world. All right, let's get into your little weird thing right now. Is this who I think it is?
Weird thing? Put it up. You know what it is. There you go.
Jesus.
That's my boy. Oh, yeah. My song of the match is Mr. President Don Aurelio. So you saw the video of him shouting out
Anguissa. That is not how you pronounce his name. It is not Anguissa. No one pronounces Dambo's name Anguissa. He's the only guy I've ever seen do that.
Yeah, man. But seeing him do that and enjoying it, oh man, that was a sight, man. And I'm sure he's done that before, but he got caught on video this time. So my song of the match is Don Aurelio for getting in with the crowd and celebrating that last second goal. Yeah, man.
Best president in the league.
There's not even a debate. There's not even a debate. There's not even a debate. Yep. Don't go back into my Twitter about 2 or 3 years ago, please. You'd be like, what? Yeah, man.
Yeah, people can change their opinions. It's fine.
Last time I checked, that was okay.
And a lot of your points were, I don't know if fair is the right word there, but
it's a little corny. It's a little goofy. I get it. But I loved seeing that. And I automatically thought about that for our show as soon as I saw that video on X.
That's crazy. I was wondering why he was in there. Now it makes sense. I thought we were going to talk about him chanting it, but that was including that. So that was smart play from you. Smart play. Wasn't expecting that one.
I don't know. It's goofy. I don't care. I don't care. I'm a goofy motherfucker, so I don't give a shit.
So that's the song of the match. Now let's go ahead and get into the Wayo of the match. Pretty easy. It's got to be Zambo. Last second goal to win it. Super clinical finish, super clutch. Honestly, had a pretty good match all around as well, not just because of that goal. The goal just put the cherry on top. Yeah, I mean, even Serie A gave him the MVP. I'm hoping in the next weeks or so we can have some different MVPs that we don't agree on being the Wayo of the match that Serie A also puts up there. I just want to say, just because it's so obvious it was Zambo and the type of game we had, it had to be him. There's really no other option. I guess you could say Lobotka as well. If you watched the game, he was pretty important, but that's why we put him in the song of the match. That's why we try to distinguish both these topics. But I just want to say on Cagliari's side, just because there's not really much to say about Zambo, we know what he did. It was easily Caprile. Without him in that goal, even with how stubborn Cagliari's defense was, we would have easily had minimum 2 goals that match, and even earlier than what we finished. Yeah, Caprile was a stout. Still wish we would have kept him. I think he's a stud. Young goalkeeper. Could have easily took after Medit, but we got VMS now, so can't complain. I'm guessing your why of the match is also Zambo.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I don't
pretty
think
easy.
that's debatable at all, bro. Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
when you have a game like this, it's almost nothing
yeah.
to really talk about there, but we got to include it.
Yeah, like you said it already. He played a good match and he scored the winning goal.
Yeah.
What else? We can't say
Not much.
that for anybody else.
It's kind of like last week where we just shrugged our shoulders, like, well, we know who this is. It's McTominay. You know what I mean? Same thing this week.
Yep.
No one really had as close of a chance except for McTominay. Obviously, like really, literally right before he had this goal, he had that shot on goal. It could easily been McTominay or Anguissa just for the goal alone. But yeah, Zambo gets MVP. Why you of the match? Well deserved. It's one of my favorite segments, Napoli News. Get to talk about a lot of different topics in regards to our team that can be on the pitch or off the pitch as well. So the first thing is definitely related to on the pitch. It'll be the transfer news or the transfer market ratings per se. This is the final grade. Transfer window is done. So let me go ahead and bring up all of our signings right there for you. It's pretty good. Pretty good. I already mentioned this on X. If you do follow me on there at Napolitano Bobo, I rated it an 8.5. I saw a lot of 9s out there, a few 10s, and honestly a lot of 7s as well, but nothing really lower. Some people said 6 or 5. I don't know how they got to that rating. If you did rate it that low,
5.
yeah, I saw
What?
just a couple of those, but with no real reasoning behind them. So I was
Probably
like,
some dude.
I was kind of
Probably
wondering.
some dude with A16 in his profile name somewhere.
Oh Lord, God, those guys should be long gone by now. And come on, we got 2 Scudetti. Like those days are over. Obviously, I know it was frustrating in the beginning with ADL. You just got to be patient. You got to remember this guy brought us from Serie C to Serie A. Anyway, whole different topic there. But yeah, Kevin De Bruyne, Luca Marianucci, Noah Lang, Lorenzo Luca, Sam Bukema, Vanja Milinkovic-Savic. That is a handful right there. Miguel.
Just say VMS.
I like saying his name though. It's fun. Elif Elmas and Rasmus Højlund as the final 2 signings. So I said my rating already. I'm pretty sure you gave them a 9 before we signed Højlund, right? Or was it lower? Sorry, I don't recall what you
No.
gave them. Was it lower than mine? Was it an 8 or 7.5?
So I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't remember what I said, but I don't think I would have said a 9. That's
I thought it was higher than
possible.
mine. Okay.
Yeah,
Fair.
I don't remember, Marty. You could be right. And I've had a lot of time to think about it, and I am nowhere near a 9. I don't know if you know that or not,
Wow.
but I did say something on X about what my grade is and that I was going to talk about it.
So talk about it. I'm curious now.
Okay. So 7.5 is my final overall grade about the transfer market. Yep. And here's my reasons. Okay. Number 1, first and foremost, I have high expectations because we are in the transition phase of becoming a dynasty. And our transfer market needs to hit near 100% every summer. It needs to hit. And there's no denying that we did not hit on the winger situation, right? You can say that Ndoye was too much money. You can say that there's some other players maybe that weren't a for sure thing, but it's obvious that we dragged our feet a little bit with Ndoye due to that price. And I think that we should have just forked out the money. And if we got Ndoye, imagine what kind of impact he could be making in games like the one versus Cagliari. So
You ain't doing much
that's
for Nottingham
the number
Forest.
one reason is I have high expectations because we're no longer a club that shouldn't be doing everything to compete in all the competitions, including the Champions League. And Ndoye would have been a difference maker. We've won both games, but we haven't performed the best in attack, and he would be a difference maker. So that's the first thing. Second thing is we still don't have a backup for Di Lorenzo. The dude can't log all these minutes all the time, especially now that we're back into the Champions League. So
I
it's
don't know.
disappointing for me. It's disappointing. Let me finish now.
Okay.
It's just you can come back and say stuff afterwards.
No,
Hold on.
well,
Hold on. It's disappointing for me that we didn't get an actual backup, and I felt like that was going to happen with Sanchez, and it just didn't. And we don't have a backup. Mazzocchi is not a viable backup. I love Mazzocchi, but there's a reason he's not in the Champions League list, So those two players, and then we also didn't find anybody to help out while Zombo is off in, the African tournaments. So those three things is number one, I have higher expectations than probably the general public. Number two, those three positions we didn't address. Now listen, we had to get a striker, which meant that we had to focus on that at the end of the market. And at that time, we were still focused on finding a backup for D'Lo and finding a backup for Zombo. We were trying to do that. There was rumors. They were viable. The best journalists out there were talking about it. So I get it. I do. Let's just pretend we didn't get Hoyland. That wasn't a for sure thing. There was a chance that it wasn't going to happen, and a lot of that had to do with the fact that there was going to be an option or an obligation to buy. Hoyland, he could have changed his mind. So let's just pretend that Hoyland didn't get signed, and we found some other striker that nobody would have been excited about. That would have made me give it like a 6. You know what I mean? So those are my thoughts. And like I said at the very beginning, the number one reason that I'm lower than most people is because I have higher expectations than most people. Now, anybody that gave this a 10 out of 10 is smoking something.
yeah, it's a little crazy. 10 crazy.
Anybody that gave it a 6 or lower is also smoking something, and they're just on one far end or the other. But I am willing to discuss anything from like a 7 to a 9. Mine's a 7.5.
Well, you said a 6 is crazy, but you would have gave him a 6 if you didn't pick up Hoyland.
Well, yeah, the 6 is crazy because we got Hoyland. If we didn't get Hoyland,
Really,
a
would
6
give it a
wouldn't be
6.
crazy anymore. Like if we just got some bum striker, yeah.
Okay. All right. That's
Well, no,
pretty harsh.
not just okay, not pretty harsh. Give me your reason that you're at an 8.5.
Oh, I will.
Talk
No,
to
I
me.
will.
Okay.
We got fucking KDB. Biggest signing in the ADL era. That's for one. Luca Marinucci. Super high ceiling. Italian defender who we've seen play at Empoli. Lots of potential. So let me just do it one by one by one. Kevin De Bruyne, 10 out of 10 signing. I don't hear nothing lower than that.
Whoa,
It's
10 out of
KDB.
10?
Yes, it's KDB, man. Come on, give me a break. We're not going to
Okay.
talk about that. Hell no. Luca,
Okay.
7 out of 10, just because of his upside and the price.
Okay.
And people got to remember, a lot of these players that are on this screen right now, not all of them were meant to be starters. Our starting team was not really the issue. Yeah, we dealt with some injuries, which is why we got a lot of these players to help with depth. We didn't have that last season. We've showed it plenty of times. And now we're in Champions League. Rotations are going to be huge. So Conte needs to get his head straight with the rotations. That's the main reason he struggles in the UCL is his rotations. Really, that's it. Noah Lang, very young player, showed what he has at PSV. Yes, it's the Dutch league. It's much different. I think it's a very underrated league, regardless. Though Dutch teams always give other European teams a problem in the UCL, which says something, right?
Okay.
So Noah Lang, 7.5 out of 10. Just because I don't, and that's saying right now, just from what I've seen from him. Obviously he hasn't played too many minutes, but even in the preseason, he didn't shine as much as I wanted him to. We didn't see too much of the flashy Noah Lang that we're used to seeing at PSV. Anyways, Lorenzo Luca. I'm saying
be careful. Be
these
careful
grades,
on this one now.
Hold on. Yes, I'm saying these grades, seeing them after 2 games. Okay, not prior.
Remember
to
how much this dude cost.
Okay, I know. Young attacker, double-digit goals at Udinese last season. Obviously, he can get goals in there, right? Hasn't performed up to his standards. And that's not necessarily saying he has to get a goal right away or, at least just make somewhat of an impact, which he has not done. Okay. Yes, he covers a lot of space on the pitch. He shows a lot of hustle, but sometimes that just ain't enough. You know what I mean? Lorenzo Luca, at this moment, a 6 out of 10. All right.
Okay. Don't
That's
forget
that.
something about this signing.
What
Who
is that?
were we strongly rumored with before the Lucas
strongest
signing
rumor?
seemed
Nunez?
before the Lucas signing seemed like a
Nunez.
for sure thing?
Darwin Nunez.
Somebody else. Darwin Nunez would have been crazy money. That would have been dumb.
I know.
In my
That's why I
opinion.
didn't want him. Yeah, no, me neither.
Who else?
Well, Lookman's not a striker. We were somewhat. That's a winger. I don't know. Who else?
Yep.
Who else was it? Give me a
Boney.
hint.
Boney.
Oh, yeah. He went to Inter. I already knew that wasn't going to fall through. As soon as Inter popped up, I was
Okay,
like,
well
oh, yeah.
then
Same
we
with
should have
Lookman
never
when he was linked to
then
Inter.
we should have never saw a freaking post about it then. We should have never been trying to negotiate with that guy. He has already made an impact with Inter.
Yeah.
He's already scored
Yeah.
and he's already made a positive impact. So
Boney's good, but to be fair, he played against Torino, who was literally giving goals away last game. Okay. I'm not knocking his game, but we don't really know what he's about just yet. I knew that first Inter game was a bit of a flaw just from what I saw. I mean, they gave away 3 goals, literally gave away to Inter. Yes, they had a great match regardless. Even a 2-0 win would have been, good. But just from what I saw and what I'm seeing now against Udinese, I mean, losing 2-1 at home, shit, that's crazy. Anyways, Sam Bukema, I'd give it. I can't distinguish. I want to give him a 7.5 or an 8 just because I haven't seen him in the actual season yet. But we know what he's capable of. He was one of the best defenders in Serie A last season with Bologna.
Yeah.
So just for now, it's an 8. Okay. Same thing with Vanja. I think he deserves 8.5. I'm going a little bit higher just because that guy's real nice. But I want to see him play. That's the problem. But in terms of depth and the transfer market,
you know how good he is. Come on.
Yeah. No, I could even give him a 9, but I'm not going to go that high just yet. I want to see him play first.
All right.
So yeah, 8.5. And then Miguel Gutierrez or Gutierrez. How do you say his name, man? I keep fucking it up. I don't usually fuck up names, but I haven't really tuned into his name just yet. But I know he's a stud. Okay. Him playing on that left back position, bringing that ball up, we're going to see so much creativity develop from the back line just from him alone. I'm giving that an 8.5 as well. Okay. It might even go up to a 9, 9.5 once he gets playing and I'm really seeing him make an impact. He can be that important for us in that back line in terms of attacking performance. Okay.
All right.
And his defense is okay. It's good. It's not like Buongiorno or Rachmani defense, but it's there. Elif Elmas, I love the guy. I would give this a 7.5, maybe a 7 out of 10, just because he's a bit older now. He's definitely a great inclusion to the team. It's great to have him back. The Joker can play a lot of different positions on the field, which is important, right? So yeah, I give it a 7.5 out of 10, just because I love the guy. Now Højlund, the very last signing. This one's tough, okay? Because if he just came off the season he had at Atalanta, I give this an 8.5 easily. No hesitation. But his tenure at Man U was not good at all. But to be fair, we know that players at Man U
Mm.
don't have the best time. So like McTominay didn't really start shining until Eric Ten Hagen was allowing him to play box to box in a position sort of like what he is right now. I mean, like Mourinho, he would only have Bruno Fernandes playing as the attacking midfielder, and McTominay would play more defensive. And that's not really his. It just doesn't suit him per se. You know, it's not his style. So Hoyland, at this very moment, I'll give it a 7 out of 10. A little bit higher than Luka's because I would have had Luka a 7 out of 10 if I didn't see how he's performing now. And so I'll be fair with Hoyland as well and give him a 7. I think that's fair. But it could
Okay.
easily go up to an 8, 8.5 once we see him perform. But we don't know. That's the problem. Don't know.
Did you add those up while you were saying it, and you're going to divide by 9 at some point?
No, but I know it'll probably be around a 7.8 or an 8. But I like to include that 0.5 just because it's a handful of good players. I'm not saying all of them are starter worthy, but that's not the main reason we got these players. We needed depth. KDB, easily a starter. Boom. Gutierrez, whatever. Easily a starter. Boom. Milinkovic Savic could easily be a starter. Boom. Bukema could easily be a starter. Boom. Noah Lang. That's tough. That's tough with the formation that we're playing right now. We have McTominay. Obviously, he doesn't sit in that position at that left wing position. But once we implement like a 4-3-3 or something of like that nature, boom, easily a starter. Everyone else is just depth. Or Hoyland as well. He could now easily be a starter. We don't know.
Oh, he's gonna be
With Lukaku being out and Luka performing the way he has. Yeah, he could be a starter now too. So I think we did great. I wouldn't say it was perfect or phenomenal, but I think we did great, which is why I gave it an 8.5.
Okay. I feel you.
Did I change your mind at all?
No.
Well, I didn't do my job.
My mind could be changed if Luka starts to do something.
Okay, so if he started to do something, what would you give him? An 8?
I mean, if he started making an impact, match in and match out with a sprinkle of a bad match here or there, I mean, how could I not say it's an 8 at that point, right?
Okay.
KDB, if he starts doing what we expect him to do, that would contribute to making it an 8 probably too. But like I said before, my expectations are probably higher than the general public, the general Napoli nation public. And those 3 positions that we did not address is another reason. So yeah, you didn't change my mind.
All right.
But some of the players' performances could make me look like a goof at some point, but we'll see. Now, does the 7.5 grade mean that we're not the Scudetto favorite? Fuck no, it doesn't. It does not. It doesn't have any impact on my confidence in us winning the Scudetto. Okay. Does it have an impact on how far I think we can go in the Champions League? No, it doesn't. I'm still very confident that we could make history this year in the Champions League. So no, but my expectations in the current state of our club and the fact that we are the best team and the best operated club in the country of Italia is why my grade is a little bit lower than maybe what others think it should be. So there you have it.
Can't change
There
it.
you
That's
have
the
it.
last time we talked about the transfer market. So I hope they do make you look like a goof. That'd be great.
What has to happen? Well, then you tell me what has to happen for me to look like a goof.
No, well, Luka performs up to his standards. Kevin De Bruyne as well, obviously. I think those two alone would bring it up to an 8 easily. Right. Once we see Noah Lang start to show us.
0.5 difference is going to make me look like a goof?
Nah, I'd say an 8.5 or a 9 would make it look like a goof. I don't know. We'll see.
I still can't believe we had 10s out there. And I still can't believe we had.
It's because it's the best transfer market we've had in a while, in a long time. Yeah.
So
yes, it is.
If you had to think of another transfer market off the top of your head that compares to it, what would it be?
I can't because this is easily the best one.
Okay.
Yeah, at least under
I
the in
can't
the
argue with
ADL
that.
era. I'm not going to talk about
I can't
Maradona because
argue with that.
Maradona. We also had some good players under Maradona. People seem to forget that it wasn't just him. Like, yeah, he was the main reason that we won 2 Scudetti and the UEL. But in terms of like overall players, like especially with the amount that we got and the potential, this is easily ADL's best transfer market. Easily. Like,
You know,
yeah, picking up Osimhen and Cavada was huge, but
yeah.
Cavada, we didn't know he was going to be like this. Like, we had
And those
no
were two
clue.
different markets too. Those
Yeah.
were 2 different years.
Yeah, exactly.
My thought goes back to when we got Mertens and Callejon and Albiol.
Yeah, that was good. That was good.
That was a good market year too, and we took advantage of the Pupita money from Mer de Guain going to Juve.
Yeah.
So for me, that's the other transfer market that I think of.
Do you think it's
and
better
it
than
was
this one?
I think it's comparable. And I do think
Yeah.
that it was that transfer market where ADL was making the transition into making sacrifices and doing what needed to be done to become a serious Scudetto contender and not just like an anti-Juve. Like that was the market where, and it included, if I'm not mistaken, it included getting Saudi that same year. Maybe not. Maybe I'm mixing that up a little bit, but it included getting Saudi in that time frame. Also because that was a risky move, but it turned out to be a really good move because we were
That was the
playing some
best football we've
beautiful.
ever played. I don't
Oh
care what
yeah,
no one
man.
says.
Oh yeah, man. We were playing
Spalletti
beautiful.
was great football, but Saudi ball,
Dude, yeah, man.
different breed.
Yeah. We were labeled the Barcelona of Italia, and that 2018 year was supposed to be our third Scudetto, and it just didn't work
Don't
out.
remind me. Don't remind
There's all
me.
kinds of reasons for that.
That
We won't get into that too much because
red card, man, against Fiorentina just messed up everything. And then Simeone goes on and gets a hat trick. And then he comes to us. Isn't that crazy?
Well, yeah, and freaking what
the
happened
world
in
just
that
circles.
Inter Juve, and what happened in that Inter Juve match.
Yeah.
That had some fucking impact too. I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah.
So,
well,
yeah.
7.5 from Debo, 8.5 from myself. Let's just call it an 8. How about that? We shake on that. An 8.
I can live with that. We can meet in the middle. That'll work. If I can get there.
All right, good. Don't leave me hanging.
That was a little goofy.
Yeah, I'm trying to cope to your standards, goofy boy.
Maybe a fist pump. We can do a fist pump. Get your fist up there, man.
I'm leaving you hanging. You call me goofy. Final top 6 prediction. Let's get into that. So, this is the last time we're talking about predictions, just because it wouldn't necessarily be a prediction anymore once we get deeper into the season. We kind of got a taste of what these teams are made of, but things could change. We know Napoli changed from the beginning of last season after losing 3-0 to Verona. Yes, we didn't have Lukaku or McTominay, but we didn't even know what they were going to do for us anyways. But yeah, let's bring up the table. This is currently where the teams are sitting at in terms of the top 12. Yeah, the only really surprise in the top 12 is Cremonese, to be honest.
For sure. Yeah.
We always know Udinese somehow manages for the first half of the season just sits in that area. I don't know what it is, but they always do. Even last season, I could be wrong, but I think they were in the top 6 for like 4 or 5 weeks. This is obviously due to change majorly. Cremonese is not going to be in the top 12, I don't believe. So deeper to the season. But let's talk about the top 6. So mine has definitely changed. I had Milan in second prior to the season beginning. They did manage to get a win, but I'm still not entirely convinced at this point that they'll get the second position in the table. Man, I hate to say it, but I think it's going to be Inter again. Yes, they did lose at home against Udinese. We know Kivu isn't proven just yet, but Inter is Inter. In terms of the best players, like in the starting 11, I do believe they still have the best starting 11. Yes, they're getting older and older. We all know that, but I still think even probably their depth is kind of crazy too. They're just old, and the Kivu is not Inzaghi, but I still have them finishing second, minimum third. But for now, I'll leave him at second.
For now, this is
Yucky.
it. You can't
Yucky.
change nothing, man. This is it.
I'm gonna keep him at second. Napoli first, Inter second.
Okay.
Roma and Juventus. That's tough. Roma has a lot of upside. Juventus is always gonna be, making noise up there in the top 4. I hate to say it, but I'm gonna go Juventus at 3. Roma 4. Milan 5.
Damn, Milan 5.
Yeah. It's the first season under Allegri, but same thing with Roma, first season under Gasperini. But if Dybala stays healthy, I see them making the
Dybala
UCL
made
this
an
year.
impact in that last game too.
Yes, he did. He always does. Dybala's
Mhm.
phenomenal. Glad he's not with Juventus anymore. So yeah, that'll be my top 5. Then 6, man, that's tough. Man, you know how bad that I want to say Como at 6. You know how bad I want to say that.
You can still do it. There's nothing
Nah,
wrong with
I had
that.
them 7 or 8, either
Okay.
barely making it into the UEL or barely out of it.
Okay.
I think Bologna can still be somewhat solid too, but 6, Lazio's not bad either. They're not. Napoli, Inter, Juve, Roma, Milan, and Como. Fuck it. I'm putting
You
Como
did
there.
it, man.
I'm putting Como at 6. Yep, I'm gonna do it. I am convinced.
You gotta
I'm convinced.
you gotta stick that beautiful calcio in the top 6, man.
Yeah.
Just to say it and to hope for it, and then anything else, right?
Yeah.
Mine's a little bit different.
Okay.
Oh,
Sorry, that took a lot to get out. I was really trying to think here. I don't want to get this too wrong.
So
it's only the first 2 weeks.
I'm gonna be straight up with you. The last like 2 or 3 days since the transfer market ended, I've been going back and forth with the 4th and 5th position.
Yeah, that was tough. That's where I struggled.
And I'm still struggling at this moment with that position.
Mm-hmm.
But my 1st, 2nd, and 3rd is the same as it was at the very beginning, and it's Napoli, Milan, and Inter. And
Really?
we don't even need to talk about Napoli, to be honest. We've got 2 wins out of the bag, and we haven't even played well, although not against great teams.
Mm-hmm.
But one word is Conte. I have
Yeah.
no doubt in my mind.
Best coach in
that
Serie
we're-
A. Easily.
Yeah. I have no doubt in my mind that we're going to win the fucking Scudetto, and we're going back to back in 3 out of 4. Oh my God, that sounds so good. Okay. And then 2nd is Milan. And the reasons behind that is because they did have a good market. They do have a coach that has a very good reputation of winning. I know that maybe his tactics are a little bit, outdated, but they have good players. They got a good window, and they have a good coach. And they only have one competition to play in. So I'm sticking with Milan at number 2. I'm sticking with Inter at number 3 because they just have talent and they've got good players at every position and backups at every position, pretty much. Oh, yeah.
Don't think too hard.
God, I don't want to say it though. Can we just skip 3rd and 4th and just go to, or I'm sorry, 4th and 5th and just go?
You got them in there, don't you? Just say it. I know that that's the first team on your mind. They're going to make the UCL this year. We hate them, but we're not going to be unrealistic. They're going to make UCL this year. Come on.
All right. If Vlahovic didn't look like he was trying to play for a contract and he's going to be trying to score goals, trying to make an, if it wasn't for that dude and what he's done in the first 2 games, which honestly isn't amazing. I mean, he had a tapping goal and he had a header on Ostigard who wasn't freaking manning him up.
Ostigard,
But
wow.
it's his attitude. When he's come in both games, he's looked very hungry.
So you at 4. I'll say it for you if you want. Debo says Juventus is making the UCL.
No, I know
this
how
year.
I can do this. No, I know how I can do this and feel good about it.
Do this.
I know how I can do this and feel good about it. Juve Merda fourth.
Does that make you happy?
Rubentino fourth.
Mm.
Shit Club fourth.
Shit club.
Right now, not
Mm.
contending for a Scudetto.
I don't know. They're right there
Mediocrity and
behind us.
irrelevance. Mediocrity and irrelevance is still there until they're contending for a Scudetto, and anybody can say that they're going to do anything in the Champions League. They're still a shit club because it's supposed to be the
Shit
opposite.
club
They're
is
supposed
crazy.
to be how many Scudetto do they have? Like
Too many.
30,000.
Too
So
many.
right now, yeah, they're a shit club when it comes to their standard. But yeah, I'm putting them in fourth, unfortunately.
Okay.
But it's good for the league. I'm not going to be dumb and say it's not good for the league. It is good for the league for them to be in the Champions League. And then fifth is Roma and sixth is Como. I'm sticking with Como just because I want that to happen more than anything else other than us winning Scudetto is for them to be in the top six so that we can see them in Europe.
That'd be cool to watch for
That's
sure.
it.
Yeah.
That's the top six for me. Unfortunately, I do
So
have.
really, so you didn't change too much. I had a drastic change because I had Milan second, and I put them all the way down to fifth. Completely missing out on UCL. So yeah, I
One
mean,
competition.
true.
Layout isn't even played
Their
yet, bro.
defense is so terrible. Like it's really bad. Like
Is
really,
it
really
really
bad.
bad?
It's really bad.
Okay.
And they didn't do nothing in the transfer market in terms of defense. It's gonna help them. So
We'll see, man. We'll see. I think one
yeah,
competition and the players that they have and the coach that they got, I think and I
I
didn't
don't think it's
mention
unrealistic to have it second. I just completely changed my mind about them. I
and I
mean, they
don't
could
think,
prove me wrong in the next 4 or 5
yeah.
weeks and then be up there with us still.
Yeah, and then
So
Inter having Kivu as their coach, even though he's been brought up through the ranks coaching their youth teams. I mean, I'm confident that Milan will get that second spot just
yeah,
above
and
Inter.
the thing that I'll give Kivu to is that he did coach Padma for the last half of the season, and we know that Padma did cause problems. But in terms of coaching
Yeah, that
Inter,
is
a
a good
whole
point.
different breed.
That is
And
a good
plus
point about what he did
them,
with Parma.
yeah, and then plus them just coming back from having a world class coach in Inzaghi. 2 UCL finals. Yes, they didn't win either, and they got killed in one, and were really close to winning the other one. But Lukaku messed that up for him. Just ironic. Man, they hate that guy. It's crazy. But yeah, I would say Milan. I wouldn't be surprised if they make the UCL. I would be surprised if they got second though, in terms of recency bias. I don't know. I just don't see it happening. It might take them a little bit
Okay.
longer than I thought to come out and show out. So yeah,
I get it.
yeah,
I do get it. I get what you're talking about.
yeah.
I disagree. That's all.
That's fine. We can't agree on everything, right? That'd make this boring. No way.
Yeah, it would. Yeah.
So let's stick with the UCL, and talk about the player list. We're not including Lukaku, obviously, Marianucci, and Mazzocchi. How do you feel about that?
Well, I mean, it's sort of a little bit obvious with Lukaku being
Mhm.
left off of there just because of his injury.
Yeah,
I mean, it wouldn't have surprised me. Like I would have been, oh my God, we kept him on the list, because there is some stuff out there saying that he might actually be able to start training with the team by the end of November. So, but I don't see that happening. And then Marianucci being as young as he is and no Champions League experience, I get
makes
that. And
sense.
then Mazzocchi just not really being somebody that I think can be counted on. I get that too. So I don't have any complaints. But what's really, really awesome is the fact that the two youngsters that were brought up through the Napoli youth are on that list in Vegata and Ambrosino, right? I am getting that right?
But got
Vegata's on
Ambrosino.
the list too, isn't he?
I hope so. You looked at the list. I didn't, but they are the 2 youth youngsters.
Ambrosino, I know for sure is, and I think Vegata is too, because they're definitely on the roster for the first team. So I would imagine that both of those players would have been announced as not being on the list. So Yeah, I have no complaints. It all makes sense to me.
I
Yeah.
do.
What do you think? Yeah. Oh, you do. Okay.
We're basically relying on Di Lorenzo to be a workhorse yet again, which he has been very reliable upon. But you never know with injuries. In terms of if he gets injured, we're gonna have to change up our whole formation in the back line at that point. You know what I mean? Like play 3 at the back or whatever Conte wants to do.
Maybe
It just won't be the same.
maybe that's part of the reasoning behind that is that maybe Conte's thinking
Yeah,
about playing 3 at the back in the Champions League.
yeah, maybe that's fair. That's the only thing that actually worries me though, just because we know that Di Lorenzo is mostly healthy. He has the most minutes played in the past 3 years for any Napoli player. It's not even close. He's a fucking workhorse. So yeah, that's the only thing that really concerns me about that list. Other than that,
Okay.
no Lukaku out 3 months, probably even longer due to his either surgery treatment. If he does that, he'll be out longer, or he does the natural way, whatever. Marianucci, really young, no UCL experience, still has time to grow, but we do have Vergara in there, so I think Conte really sees something in him, which I don't blame him because I do too. But yeah, that's all I got for the UCL playlist. Let's get into the training grounds. Now, you are definitely more knowledge upon this topic because I saw it for a split second when you put it in here.
This is
Suchivo, why?
yeah. Yeah, Mario, this is going to be another one of those me having high expectations in my discussion about this. So
The Rock.
all right. So I'm going to try not to complain too much. The fact that we are actually getting a brand new training center, which
Mm-hmm.
I am 100% sure of, is what's most important. There's no way that we can debate that that's not what's most important about it. But I am disappointed in the area that was identified because it's one of the worst areas in all of the Napoli metropolitan area. We lived right by Suchivo, and I've been in and out of that part of the Caserta region. It's not even in the Napoli region. No big deal though, right? It's not in the Napoli region. It's still close enough to where it's not like way out in the boonies or something. Castle Verterno is probably about the same distance. You're just going the opposite way to get to, the main city and where, some of the players probably want to live. And I guarantee you there ain't no player going to live in Suchivo. That's not happening. Okay. So I'm disappointed in the area that was identified, and it seems like it is the area. There's no turning back. But I'm very happy that it's finally happening and super excited to see the final result. I think that it's going to model the Manchester City training center from what I've read. So that's exciting in itself too. So I'm not officially complaining. It just would have been really, really nice if we could have found another area like Afragola has a lot of room. It's closer to the main city, the central of the city, right? Um, I think there's some areas in and around Pozzuoli that would have been closer and in a much nicer area. So I am disappointed that it's going to be Suchivo, but I'm not sitting here trying to
But you're
complain.
happy we got a new sports center finally,
Oh my God.
new training center.
That's an understatement. That's an understatement. How long were we going to lease out, a hotel as our training center? So, yeah, I'm not complaining. I just wish it could have been in a nicer area and even a little bit closer to the city.
Yeah, I see your point. La prima pietra. That's an ADL thing to do, to take one of the first rocks from the, from the center and slide it.
Hey, he picked that rock behind his car when he was he pulled out his phone and said, "Go find me a rock, bro. I need to make sure that I'm holding up to my word about turning over the first stone," or whatever you want to say. So yeah, it's the ADL way of how he's doing things, but I'm not complaining about that either. We're getting a new training center, bro. Like, it's awesome, and
Finally.
the stadium stuff that's being talked about seems more real than it ever has been. So I think there's like a little bit of, a wonder about, hey, is it really only going to cost? I think 250 to 300 is what has been the amount. I think it's going to be a whole lot more expensive than that, but I'm wondering if maybe that's going to be the cost that ADL actually funds, and the remainder could be like sponsors. Maybe that's what's going on. So, but I do think that that is gaining a ground, and I feel more comfortable than I've ever been that it's actually going to happen too. I mean, you got the Euros coming up, so that's a good reason.
Yeah. So there's a ongoing issue recently about these tariffs hitting European goods, specifically a lot of complaints about the Napoli merch being much more expensive than it needs to be, because I'm not too familiar with it. I don't like to get into politics, especially with my job. I can't talk too much about it. You can go more in depth into what the real issue is if you're familiar with it. I just know that there is a 15% tariff implied on European goods, but for some reason, UPS has been putting over 100%, 200% on some people's items, making them pay almost the same amount as what they actually paid for the merch itself. So if you bought like $200 in items, you're probably paying like 170, 180. It just depends. There's been different circumstances. I've seen different examples on the Twitter. There's a big thing going on. But yeah, let them know what's going on with this.
So, when I got wind of it from Dom from the Bronx, he sent out a post, and I was like, "What's going on here?" And I started trying to figure things out on my own for myself, because I had ordered what I'm wearing right now. I ordered it right about the same time, and I tried to call UPS, and I realized that when I was on hold for like an hour, it was because the specific office I was trying to call was closed. So I called the very next morning, got a hold of somebody. They advised me to send an email, pretty much disputing in the fact that it was an error. It turns out, Dom was on the phone with somebody else, and they explained to him that it has everything to do, I think he said that, everything to do with the tariffs on China. So it's not only the tariffs that is on, Italy as something that's being shipped from them. It's also tariffs that have been applied on the material and where it was actually made, which I think is all in China. So I did get an email back pretty much telling me to fuck off. We're not going to change the prices. It's not us anyway. It's the tariffs. And for anybody out there that's going to be listening to this when it gets posted and you're wondering, the number one thing is to go ahead and pay them, because if you don't, UPS is going to eventually send that to collections, and that's the last thing you want.
Wow.
Now, what really sucks about this is that I know several fans that made a large purchase all at once, waiting for everything to come out.
Mm-hmm.
So there's people out there that have spent hundreds upon hundreds of dollars in merchandise that are going to end up having to pay hundreds and hundreds of dollars of tariffs. So that sucks. It's terrible. We'll see if anything changes. I'm not thinking that anything's going to change, and we're just going to have to deal with it. So there's that.
Okay. Went really in depth into that. Didn't know the whole collections thing was going on. That's pretty crazy, especially because I know a lot of people are not going to be wanting to pay that, but you also don't want your stuff to hit collections. That'd be terrible on your credit score.
Mm-hmm.
So that's it for the episode. We do have a couple of announcements coming up. Tomorrow, we are going live with the one and only Marco Messina from CBS Sports Golazo and IFTV at 9 a.m. Eastern. Super excited for that. Easily my favorite, what would you call them when they're on the stand? I'm having a brain fart. He's not an announcer.
Analysis.
Yeah, get it
my
out.
brain can't
You
say
got
the
it.
word.
Either way, one of my favorite
Analyst.
guys in general.
Analyst.
In the college football world. He's great at his
Yeah.
job, completely unbiased, is very familiar with football, calcio in general. So we look forward to talking with him tomorrow. And also after Marco, we have another special guest from CBS Sports Golazo as well. and that is the one and only Patrick Kendrick. That'll be on Tuesday, September 9th at 1 p.m. Eastern. You guys should be very familiar with Patrick Kendrick. He commentates over a lot of Napoli games in general, Serie A games, but he's easily my favorite commentator as well. So that's exciting to have him on the show. So once again, tomorrow is live with Marco at 9 a.m. Eastern, and then Patrick will be September 9th at 1 p.m. Eastern.
I think that I think he's on several networks when he announces the
Different
matches
leagues,
for Serie A for different like networks.
or different networks.
I
Sorry,
think I think it's just Serie A, but I think his voice is played over different networks as the English commentator. I don't think he's like specifically a CBS guy. I think that he provides it for all kinds of networks that people want to listen to the commentator in English. So yeah, Mario. Marco is, man, I can't wait to have him on and listen to his story. He just posted a YouTube clip that was that went over his trip to Italy, I think back in 2022, when he lived there for like a month and he was going to all kinds of different matches. And I think it was capped off with a World Cup qualifier match that Italy unfortunately lost. Watching that and just seeing how excited he was, and um, it's an amazing story, and I can't wait to talk to him about that, and then about the league in general. Uh, Literally looking forward to that. And then Patrick, same stuff, man. The dude's amazing. He is very, very knowledgeable, not only about the league, but about Napoli and the country. And I
speaks
think he's
very,
married.
very good Italian, by the way. Very
Yeah,
good
and then some
Italian. He went
Napolitano.
on this one radio podcast in that's in Napoli, and I couldn't even tell it was him. I never heard him speak like sentence after sentence after sentence, like like
Yeah,
I've heard him say names and on his commentaries,
yeah.
but or like little statements. But I mean, the guy can speak Italian easily. You wouldn't know that he was not Italian. You know what I mean?
And and I believe he's married to a lady from Napoli too. So it's going to be
Oh,
really cool to talk to him
I didn't know
also.
that. That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah, I think
Wow.
so. I'm not going to say I know that 100% for sure because I don't want to be wrong, but I would bet a good
But
stake dinner that he
is
is.
she Italian?
Oh, for sure, and I think
Oh,
she's
okay. So
Napolitana. Yeah.
so no wonder he speaks fluently like that. Okay, okay, that makes sense.
Well,
Well,
I'm sure he studied quite a bit for it too,
yeah.
because like you said, his Italian is flawless,
Yeah,
and
it's
he's
really good.
he's got some Napolitana in there too. Like
Yeah, I've heard it. Hmm.
what was that thing he said last year? That went like viral. It was so Conte said,
I'm a fadiga.
oh, he
No.
said I'm a fatiga, and I'm trying to remember. Conte said something that was, oh man, I can't remember it. We'll make sure that we get Patrick Kendrick to say that. I'm just having a brain fart, but I think it went viral. It was a Napolitano phrase, and it's going to be nice to just to hear him say that on camera because it was his thing. He was the one that said that on air the first time, and the internet ran with that shit. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to both. Can't wait. Make sure you get in the chat. I know the times are not the best, but we had to work around their schedules. They're both very, very busy, and those were the dates and times that we were able to identify. So if you're watching this, hopefully you can find a moment to break away from work or anything else that you got going on in your life, and get in there and throw some questions at both of these legends.
Yeah, it'll be great being able to throw them some questions and then hear their responses. But obviously, if you do miss the alive, you can always click on our YouTube and then click the alive section. They're all recorded and posted afterwards, anyways. So to close out the episode, we're gonna go ahead and shout out the following Napoli channels. We have
No
Napoli
doubt.
Talk. We have Forza Napoli Podcast. We have In the Shadow of Vesuvio Podcast. And the Raff and Raff Rant. Make sure you guys go ahead, show them your love, show them your support, give them a follow,
Mia.
check out their content. I almost forgot. What do we end each episode with? We made this
God,
mistake
we
once
always
before.
forget that shit.
Well, we're gonna do it right
You
now.
know, are we record? You've got to include this in some type of blooper reel, man. How the fuck do we forget that? We always do.
Well, people forget things. But with that being said,
Especially 52-year-old men.
no excuses.
No, there
Forza
isn't. Napoli.
sempre.
Why you?
It's international break. I'm depressed.